Good morning and welcome to Odoo Live. My name is Noel, Community Manager here at Odoo San Francisco. Today I am joined by Brandon Johnson, one of our business advisors, to talk about Odoo recruitment and appraisals. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we can answer them at the end of Brandon's presentation. As well, if you showed up late, by all means use this same link to watch this presentation whenever is convenient for you. So you don't have to watch it all right now when it's live. We will be, as I mentioned, taking your questions and feel free to ask away if you have anything. You can send emails to either webinars@odoo.com, or if you wish to send an email directly to Brandon, you can send one to him. He is at bjo@odoo.com. So without any further ado, unless you've got something else you'd like to add,
Nope.
I'm going to kick it to you, Brandon.
Awesome. So as I said, my name's Brandon Johnson. I'm a business advisor here at Odoo, so I typically do demos for lots of different things. Today what we'll be discussing is focused mainly on employees recruitment and some of appraisal. I don't know how many of you guys have already used Odoo or are familiar with it. I've personally put together a little bit of a demo database so that we can go through Odoo together. If you guys have any questions, reach out to Noel. He'll be the one who can can see them and pass them on to me. And we'll just get started. So I'm assuming everybody can see my screen. This is a new database, just started it. And in it we have employees, recruitment, and then appraisals as well. Typically when we focus on employees, you will always start with the first employee, which is yourself, once you've created a database. Now, in the Employees tab, it's pretty simple. We have Employees, Departments, and Configuration. To create an employee, we'll just do one right away. Let's just call this employee George and save it. That's all you need to do in Odoo to create a new employee. It's very, very simple. We try to make it as simple as possible. Now, within that, we can actually go into the employee George and set up a bunch of different things. So if we edit this, we can add their work location, work email, mobile, phone number. We can put any information, joined in 2018. We can add a department for them. Currently, we only have sales and admin, but we can always add another department. Let's call this HR, and we could have a parent department. We don't have to, and we can also assign them a manager as well. If we save this, we now have an HR department. We can give them a job position as well. Call them, let's call them a recruiter. We can create that on the fly as well. We can assign them a manager or even a coach if we want to. So this is very straightforward. This allows us to have our employee. We can give them a last name, Soros, Ashton. We can also log and track different things as well. We can send messages through our chatter. This right here is what we refer to as a chatter, or we could also log a note about George. It's very simple to do. Since we have the appraisals tab, we can also set up an appraisal to be sent to anybody who's his manager or other employees or anything. And we can also set it up to be periodic. We can also keep private information, citizenship, contact information, work permit, and date of birth, as well as any HR settings we need. So, in a way, it's very simple to create a new employee, to make changes to current employees, and to track it all through Odoo as well. the other thing is we can have multiple departments. So we looked at employees. We can also add departments. Right now we have administration, HR, and sales. We can create another department. Let's call this finance. We can add a parent department, or we could just have this be a parent department as well. We can have a specific manager for it. Let's say Sally's the manager. We can save that, and now we have a finance department. So when we do go back into employees, we can set them up to be part of a specific department as well. Because I already have her as the manager, we don't need to do that. And the internet's going slow. So
It'll just take a second, hopefully.
there we go. So it's very simple to create employees, to make changes to them. As I said, we can also go into configuration and change the settings of employees as well. We can set their working hours, and we can also add an organizational chart. So employees is a very simple tab, but it allows you to keep track of all your employees, whether you have 5 employees or 100. Next thing I wanted to go into was recruitment. I've already set up a few job positions. We got a sales manager, account executive, and a recruiter. Each of these we can set up. We can have different colors for it. We can view different parts of it. We can see whether it's applications, documents, go into the settings as well. Let's just jump into, say, sales manager. In our sales manager itself, we can track our applications. Right now I have Bob. He's applying for the position of sales manager. We can click into Bob, see what his email is, who's speaking to them, what we are applying for, what his expected salary is, proposed salary, when he's available to start, if he's referred to anybody. We can also edit all of this, set up an application summary. We can go into the name. All of this is easily changeable. And specifically for recruiters who really care about tracking what they've done or who they've met with or whether they have to do anything else, we also have this chatter right here, so we can set up send messages. So we could send a message directly to Bob saying, hey, we'd like you come back in for another interview. We can also log a note or just saying anything. Bob is a good candidate for this position. Once we've logged it, it's now under this particular application. So we can always see this here. It's also time-stamped as well. If we have to call Bob and we need to schedule a time to do it, we can also schedule an activity. And that's really simple as well. Let's say we want to call, say he is moving on to the next step. We can set a summary right there, and we can also set a due date as well. Let's say we're calling on the 23rd and schedule. This allows us, if we jump back into applications, we can now see that we have a activity scheduled for Bob. And we can see what that call is and then when it's due. Assume that call goes well, we can also move him into the first call or in person and even move him to hired if we choose to. If we choose to hire him, what we're doing is when we click create an employee, we'll actually add Bob to the employees list so that we will now have Bob as one of our employees. So even though we were originally in recruitment, once we've added Bob as an employee, we can now officially look at him as an employee. So now Bob is our sales manager. Jumping back into recruitment, We have our sales manager, we hired our employee, so it now shows up like that. We could also have different applications. Say we have one for our account executive. We see we have Fred here. We've also seen that he's uploaded a document as well, so he's uploaded his resume. So in this, we're allowed to we can see all of the documents that he's added in case that there are a lot of documents that we need to have for Fred. We can also refuse him. It's a very simple process. We can also, up here, as you saw, we have job positions, applications, resumes, reports, and configuration. Resumes and letters. What this allows us to do is have a list of all the documents that have been sent into Odoo in regards to the recruitment, whether it's CVs or resumes or letters of intent, whatever it is, we now have it all and we can actually search by it. Let me see if we added, if we go into Fred, we can add a document. I'm just going to call this studio walls.text. So now if we go into our resumes and letters, we now have studio walls.text and resume. If we search by studio, for example, actually I think I saved them both as studio walls. Let me see if I can add another one. Let's call this CV. Make it simple. We now have CV. If we search by CV, it's going to be the only one who shows up. Now this is a very simple process. Of course, we only have one thing set up. But with our filters, we could, if we have hundreds, thousands of letters, documents, we're able to search by them as well. We can also see these in a detailed view, which makes it also very easy to find what each person has sent, who owns it, and when it was created. Finally, we can track our reports. We can see the sales manager, account executive, how the recruitment's going. If we had more data, we'd be able to track even more. We can search by a pivot chart or even a graph if we want to. We can see who's in the in-person and where we are in the process of each. Any questions so far? No?
It doesn't look like it.
Okay, cool. So that's the basics for employee and recruitment. As I said, they're very simple applications. Getting into appraisal is a little bit more complicated because you also have to have website and surveys downloaded. What that is appraisal allows us to look at candidates, how they're doing over time, employees. If I look at Bob, for example, we can see that we do have this appraisal form. To do that, we can set up surveys, say, are you happy? We can go pretty in-depth with this. We can add page titles. We can test the survey. We can design the survey. We can send out the survey. So we can get really complicated with this. And with this, we can actually go into, send it out to our employees and track their appraisal over time. And then there's also appraisals as well. We can set up, actually I'm just going to jump into appraisal. We're just going to create an appraisal from scratch. Say this is Bob. We can set up a deadline to be the 30th. We can make this a final interview. We can save. Once again, this is very simply set off. We can start an appraisal and send the forms. And when it says send forms, that would be we send the survey out to Bob, which he can then fill out according to his needs. We can click done, and it moves him through. We can track his answers as well. and that would be tracked in the surveys portion. So this is a survey. The reason why we need the website is so that it can be posted on the website and somebody can click into it, go into it. We don't have any pages. But it's pretty simple, but it can get really complicated as well. So yeah, that's employees, recruitment, surveys, appraisal, whole 9 yards.
Great. Well then, while we let people add any last minute questions if they feel like they need to, I would like to remind you all that we have events happening all over this country and indeed all over the world. We will be in DC, and Boston this week. We'll be in Texas, so Dallas and Austin, I believe the next week. We'll even be in Canada in September. And even here at home in the Bay Area in September. For all of our Latin American viewers as well, we'll be in Bogota this month, I think next week, and then we will be in Guadalajara, Mexico in September. So if any of those are nearby, feel free to sign up for those and come and hang out, interact with our very experienced sales folks. So I would also like to remind you, if you have any questions, either about the webinars or about recruitment today, you can send us an email at webinars@odoo.com, or to speak directly to Brandon, you can send him an email. He is at bjo@odoo.com. So checking the chat again, still looks like we don't have very many questions today. So I would like to remind you all to like and subscribe to our channel. That way you can stay up to date with all of the webinars and things that we do here at Odoo, and so we can continue making these webinars for you all. So with all of that being said, Brandon, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you are evaluating an ERP or MRP system for your company, don't hesitate to reach out to me, bjo@odoo.com. I'd be more than happy to walk through more than just recruitment, appraisal, surveys, pretty much any topic that you want, we could go over.
Great.
So don't hesitate to reach out. Back to you.
Excellent. Well, all right. Well, thank you all very much. Once again, we hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.